Some of you remember Declan. We've had him here a few times. Declan is from Donegal. And he's going to do some music. He's going to tell some stories of his home. He's going to do some sing-along kind of music. He's going to do some more ballads. And if you remember from last year, it was wonderful. So Declan,
Thanks, Chief.
please.
Just before I start, I just want to thank you for having me back again. I've known Jean for, I think, maybe 12 years now. I have a band, a 5-6-piece band, and we've played some of the events down for Scituate Day. And then during the lockdown, during COVID, when I couldn't perform, I would sing in my basement. I'm going to leave this in my basement. It's gone like an Irish pub. So sing there on a sunny night. The Irish community that I belong to, we try to, when we all came here, we realized how lucky we were to be in America. So a lot of us got together and tried to give back. And the way that we do it is we raise funds for kids with cancer. So on the sunny nights when I couldn't raise money out in the open, I would do these Facebook Live from my basement, and people would check in from all. It ended up there were people from all over the world, from Ireland, England, all over America, and I think we raised, I could be wrong, I think we raised something like 60,000 in 2 months just by singing. Julie, a friend of mine that came down today, would have been part of that as well. So I'm going to be singing some songs. I know the slideshow I believe is about immigration, so I'll do some immigration songs, but please feel free if there's anything that you want me to sing or play. A couple of songs that I, Green Alligator. I never knew what a Green Alligator is. Once I came back out from America, I never heard the song before in my life. I'm honoured to say I never learned it. But I'll do it again, seriously, if there's anything you want me to play. I'll do a song just for all songs are, most Irish songs are about leaving home. So, first one song called Whiskey in the Tin. It's about coming to America. I always will remember the day we went away, sailing out of Belfast in the morning. Our hopes were on tomorrow, New York City fair, dreams were on the day of returning. Dancing, we'll be romancing, never more feel home. They'll be rolling in the hay, whiskey in the tin, when the boys come rolling home. We safely reached the outside in 3 and 20 days, spite of wind and rain and stormy weather. We all stepped out and drank around and wished each other well, swore we'd all come back again together. They'll be dancing, they'll be romancing, never more alone. They'll be rolling in the hay, whiskey in the tay, when the boys come rolling home. We went to Boston, Sam to Buffalo, packed without as far as California. I used to get a letter there, but that was long ago. We all spoke of Ireland returning. They'll be dancing, they'll be romancing, never more alone. They'll be rolling in the hay, whiskey in the tay, when the boys come rolling home. It must be over 90 now, me grandson's been in bed. Here I am in Chicago and still scheming. He promises he'll take me back to rescue me yet, and I leave him a legacy of freedom. They'll be dancing, they'll be romancing, never more we'll go. They'll be rolling in the hay, whiskey in the tay, when the boys come rolling home. They'll be dancing, they'll be romancing, never more we'll go. home. They'll be rolling in the hay, he was skiing the tail, when the boys come rolling home. Thank you very much. It was just, I grew up, I grew up in Donegal. Have you ever looked at a map of Ireland? I'm from the most northerly parish, place called Mallinhead, the most northerly point in Ireland. And I'm sure I've told this story before, but what the British call Northern Ireland is the northeast of the country. I live in the northwest, and because they call Northern Ireland, they call the rest of it the south. So I live in the most northerly point of Ireland, which is in the south, which is farther north than Northern Ireland. It's something that can only happen in Ireland. But and as we always say, if you don't understand, live the British. So, and I grew up the youngest of 11. I have 5 brothers, 5 sisters. The eldest, I'm 50, I'm 54. My eldest brother Patrick is 74. So even though we had a 2-bedroom house in Ireland, but 13 counting my parents, but the usual story of Irish immigration, we never actually lived all together because the 2 eldest had emigrated before I was born. So myself and my next oldest brother Sean, I remember in the summer times we would be playing in the yard, and I remember a car coming into our yard, and these, which I thought back then, these like 3 really massive guys got out of the car, and I said to Sean, who are they? And he said, they're our brothers. They were home in England. Just to use the story of Irish immigration, I was talking about Bill down here before we started. Every family was like that. There was like 11 of us. There was neighbours that had 15, and they used to always joke that our neighbours, like my own parents, my dad's name was John, my mother's name was Mary, but they used to joke with his family next door. Well, next door was about 4 fields away, but they said that Mary had bad hearing, and they said that every night John would get into bed and say, Mary, do you want to go to sleep or what? And she'd say, what? That was why the answer. But I always think when we came, when I came back here in 2000, people still would say it must have been a big thing to leave your family and come to America, 3,000 miles away from home, but it really wasn't compared to what your heritage, your people came here, knew nobody. A lot of them probably came here and never went back to Ireland. Like a quick story, my eldest daughter is looking at the colleges in Texas at the minute, and I'm like, Abby, do you realise I could be in Ireland an hour sooner than you can be in Texas if you fly at the same time? So I'm always in awe of people that came here generations ago because of what they left in Ireland and the hard time they had when they came here. And I think it's great to keep celebrating that culture like we're doing today. So we'll do another immigration song with Elsa. Oh, the silent swan, like a scene from a costume ball, decked out in the colours of Europe, and on fire with the hope of it all. There my fathers and fathers stood on, tired, the hungry, the scared, turned century pilgrims, bound by dreams that they shared. They were standing in line just like cattle, sworded, showered and shoved. Some were one desk away from sweet freedom, some torn from someone they loved. Through this towering tower of battle came a young man confused and alone, determined and bound for America, carrying everything that he owned. Sometimes when I look in my grandfather's emigrant eye, I see that day reflected. I can't hold my feelings inside. I see starting with nothing, working hard all of his life. So don't take it for granted, some grandfather's emigrant eye. Now he rocks and he stares out the window. His eyes are still just as clear as the day he sailed through the harbour in a show on the island of tears. Now my grandfather's days are numbered, and I won't let his memory die, for he gave me the gift of America and the look in his emigrant eyes. Sometimes when I look in my grandfather's emigrant eye, I see that day reflected. I can't hold my feelings inside. I see starting with nothing, working hard all his life. So don't take it for granted, some grandfather's emigrant eye. Sometimes when I look in my grandfather's emigrant eye, I see that day reflected. I can't hold my feelings inside. I see starting with nothing, working hard all his life. So don't take it for granted, say grandfather's emigrant eye. Don't take it granted, say grandfather's emigrant eye. I was thinking when I was singing that song, I came here in 2000, I became a citizen in 2009. My daughter, Abby, was 3 at the time. And it was a really hot summer's day, and we were standing outside Faneuil Hall in Boston. That's where I became a citizen. And the heat was annoying Abby, and I was trying to keep her calm. My wife was here, my wife's parents and everybody. And I started talking to Abby, and I said, Abby, do you really realize that when I become a citizen, my accent's going to change? I'm becoming American. And I just said it offhand, just to try to keep it. So I became a citizen. We went over to, of course, an Irish pub called Mr. Dooley's to have a couple of beers and celebrate. And Abby started crying. And I said, what's wrong? She goes, you sound just the same. You never lied, which I I'm going to do a song especially for Jean this time. By the way, Jean, as I said, we've known each other a long time. Great lady. I love everybody that keeps heritage alive. American heritage, Irish heritage, and thanks Jean again for having me. She likes the song, something about whiskey in the jar. I was going to interrupt her when she was apologising about how she sounded. I was going to say I couldn't understand her accent. As skies go over far-famed Kerry mountains, I met Captain Farrell and his money he's counted. I first just be pistol, I just be radio, sets down the river, and the devil he may take you. I ring down the river, back for daddy-o, back for daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. I counted out his money, paid a pretty penny. I put it in me pockets and I brought it home to Jenny. She smiled and she swore she never would see me. But the devil's take that woman for, you know, she took it easy. There ain't no one who's going on. for my daddy, oh, went for my daddy, oh, there's whiskey in the jar. I went up to be chamber, all for to take a slumber. I put up the golden jewels and for sure 'twas no wonder when Jenny took me charges. She filled them up with water, then sent the captain bottle to be ready for the slaughter. Ring-a-ma-doo-a-ma-da, went for my daddy, oh, went for my daddy, oh, there's whiskey in the jar. Was early in the morning, just before I rose to travel, up came the bandit man, likewise Captain Fowler. I then reduced me pistol, she stole my new rapier, but I couldn't shoot the water, so a prisoner I was taken. Ring down the da, went for my daddy, oh, went for my daddy, oh, there's whiskey in the jar. Anyone convinced me to be brother in the army, I wonder if he's stationed in Cork or in Killarney, and if he'll come and join me, but we're all through the ken, and I'm sure you'll treat me better than before. Trust in Jenny, ring-a-ma-doo-a-ma-da, went for the daddy, oh, went for the daddy, oh, there's whiskey in the jar. Oh, some men take delight in the hair and the bowling, others love to hear the cannonball are rolling, but me, I just like sleeping, especially in Jenny's chamber. Here I am in prison, here I am, ball and chain, yeah. Ring-a-ma-doo-a-ma-da, went for the daddy, oh, went for the daddy, oh, there's whiskey in the jar. Oh, sure, ring-a-ma-doo-a-ma-da, went for the daddy, oh, went for the daddy, oh, there's whiskey in the jar. I'll do a song again. A lot of Irish songs are about immigration. I think I told you, maybe hear me tell the story before, but my dad was a lovely singer, and my mother was a dance, and my father played accordion, and a lovely, what we call a shallow singer, where he would sing without any music on accompaniment. But he used to always tell us, he would say that a good Irish song is about one of two things. Say, somebody dying, he said, or somebody going to America. And he said, and if you died on the way to America, that was an even better song. We tend to have the other thing what they said about the Irish, because we love fighting as well. They said that Irish and people have gone a bit bad because all their wars are merry and all their songs are sad. This is a song about going to Australia. The usual story with immigrants, probably any immigrant country, was where usually the man would go first, try to establish, make some money, and then he would send for the family to come. Although we're the only country in Europe, I'm not sure about the world, but we're the only country in Europe that more women emigrated, more women came to America than more Irish men. And a lot of that was because the land was always left to the sons. And if you're ever in Ireland, you'll see all these tiny little fields, and that would happen. The farms would eventually get smaller because, like a family like mine, if there was 6 boys, but that stopped happening after the great wave of immigration in the 1800s and 1840s. But during that time, Ireland was about the only country in Europe that more women came here than men. This song's about going to Australia. And we always joke about that. The only time Irish people ever went to Australia is when the British sent us in. Never to return because we had been involved in some of the uprisings. And the old joke is about the Irish guys that goes to Australia, and the immigration officer says, "Do you have a criminal record?" And he said, "I didn't know you still needed one." The British would say, usually the Van Diemen's Land. This is a song about, it's called Far Away Australia. Sweetheart, I'm bidden a fond farewell. I will be yours one day. I am bound for a new land, be fortune to try, I'm ready to sail away. Far away in Australia, soon let fate be kind. I will be ready, welcome at last, the Caroline left behind. Oh, you can't leave me, this poor maiden said, for I shall not let you go. Ah, but I must leave you, he fondly replied, if for only a while I know. Far away in Australia, soon let fate be kind. I will be ready, welcome at last, the Caroline left behind. Whether in success or failure, I will always be true. Probably each day in the land far away, I'll be making a home for you. Far away in Australia, soon let fate be kind. I will be ready to welcome at last, Caroline left behind. Daily she waits at the old cottage gates, watching the whole day through, until one day a letter from over the sea, and I'm hoping these words are true. Far away in Australia, now's come the time, and now I am ready to welcome at last, the Caroline left behind. Far away in Australia, now's come the time, now I am ready to welcome at last, Caroline left behind. I'm going to do another song about Australia. Not as happy this time. During the rebellions against the British occupy in Ireland, the easiest thing that they did was just send you off to Australia for the smallest of crimes. Like I think I showed Julie. My band brings tours to Ireland. We're going there in July. We're going to be in Derry, Donegal, Mayo, and Galway. But we went there in 2022. 2022?
22 was supposed to be 2020.
We were just talking about everything's like before COVID and after COVID. I think BC is actually before COVID. But it was just after. Yeah, we were supposed to go there during COVID and then it stopped. And we brought 120 people over. But we brought them right up to where I grew up and again, the most northern parish in Ireland, Malin. We obviously had a clear day. You can see the western lights of Scotland, Mull, Jura and Islay, but there's not too many clear days, so we see them about twice a year. But I was explaining to them how the farmland, again, please don't think this is an anti-British thing, this is just the truth, this is what happened. The land, absolutely beautiful part of Ireland, but very, very bad, not agricultural land. We would have been fishermen, but we would have sheep because the land didn't suit cows, and basically sheep wouldn't feed anything, so heather. But that was the thing that saved Donegal from not being part of Northern Ireland, because the British didn't want Donegal because the land was not good. It was really of no use to them, and the Catholic population was too high. So when people talk about Ulster, Ulster being part of the United Kingdom, there's 9 counties in Ireland, only 6 counties are part of Great Britain. There's 3 counties in Ulster, Monaghan, Cavan, and where I'm from in Donegal, that are still part of the Republic of Ireland. But as I was saying, we were showing people, when I was saying that this land would have been in my family's for generations. My second name is Houton, H-O-U-T-O-N, which is not a really Irish name. My father had an uncle who was a priest, and he said that we came to Ireland with the Vikings. It was Houton, and that's usually where we find Houtons are on the coast. My mother was a Doherty, which would be a huge Celtic name in Donegal. But that farm and all that land would have been our family for generations until the British occupation came, and then the land would have been taken off every one of our neighbours, as soon as all over Ireland, and then you had to pay taxes to live on your own land. And if you farmed the land the way they didn't want you to farm it, you would be sent. It was a crime. So this story is a true story of a guy was sent to Fremantle Bay, and his only crime was taking crops off his own land. But he was sent to a prison in Fremantle Bay, and it's a great story. I think I told the story before. The Catalpa in New Bedford, I know English here, the Catalpa. This happened in the 1800s, where no cell phones, nothing. So guys had been sent to Western Australia, to Fremantle Bay, a notoriously brutal prison. And a boat sailed out of New Bedford called Catalpa. A group of Irishmen here went down and they got the boat. I don't think that the skipper actually knew there was a whaling ship. He wasn't sure why he would be brought in, but they sailed all the way to Western Australia. And at the same time, the guys broke out of prison, got on the Catalpa and sailed back to New Bedford. But they were a few miles off the coast when the British heard about it, and the British came up beside and threatened to fire guns. And the Catalpa whaling ship raised the Stars and Stripes, and the British opened fire on an American ship. And that's how they rescued them. But this song goes back to why they were there. And I'm sorry for telling these big long stories, but I'm the youngest of 11, so anytime I get a chance to talk,
John Boyle O'Reilly.
John Boyle O'Reilly. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But if you look up there, if you Google just the Catalpa story, and I want to welcome Rhonda here. She's late as usual. Don't everything up there. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. It's okay. I should be used to it by now.
But again, this was a true story of what went on in that Ireland. Only name hasn't mattered for many to say. I was born on the west coast of Clare. By the time I was married, I had my own land. There were many there. Our home was contented, the years quickly passed. We had 4 lads to carry on hay. Then one year the crop failed and the hunger set in. I was certain that I was to blame. Often I think about doing our cottage a lifetime away. Though I'm chained here and bound, still my heart can't be found in this prison in Fremantle Bay. This menacing evening, I stood by the door and looked out where our crops used to be. Thought of pain deep inside when I looked in the eyes of my children, drove me to sleep. It was raining the night that the sheriff's man came, and the judge gave his verdict next day. From the land that you stole from, you'll have to be sent to a colony. There you will pay. Often
I think about Julie, a cottage a lifetime away. Though I'm chained here and now, my heart can't be found in this prison, free man to Bay. The sun it beats down from a merciless sky, and the rocks they burn into our feet. Oh, the work's very hard, and it's never break for unfortunate men such as me. My crime cost a shilling and 6 pence to men, but they sent me away across the sea. Now I must live out the rest of my life in a land that means nothing to me. Often I think about Julie, her cottage a lifetime away. Though I'm chained here and bound, my heart can't be found in this prison, free man to pay. Often I think about Julie, a cottage a lifetime away. Though I'm chained here and bound, my heart can't be found in this prison, free man to pay. In this prison, free man to pay.
Better sing a couple of happy songs. I think the last time I played here, people were calling the Samaritans after I left, so I'm going to do a couple of songs. We'll do the song. Gene asked me to do another song, a song that you'll probably hear about 100 times in the next couple of months. I've been a wild woman for many years. I spent all my money on whiskey and beer. I'm not rich, I have golden gravestone. I never will play, though I wrote no more than snow. They never will. Though I never no more will I play the wild woman. No, 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 no. I went into the playhouse I used to frequent. I sold the landlady, me money to spend. I asked her for credit, she answered me nay. Such a customizers, I can have any day, and it's no, they never. Though they never no more, will I play the wild woman. And it got me pocket, 10 sub and so bright. Landlady's eyes on wide of glass. She says, I have whiskey and wine to the best. And the words that I spoke, they were really a jest. And it's no, they never. Though they never no more, will I play the white woman. I'll go home to me parents, confess what I've done. I asked them to pardon that I cried the sun. When they confess me, like they've all before, I never will play while rover no more against no, they never. Though they never no more, will I play the wild woman. Let's me sing this thing. And it's no, they never. No, they never no more. I play the wild woman. conjure with whiskey or something. And that's another thing that you probably know this anyway, but never be embarrassed about drinking whiskey, because the Irish word for whiskey, if you translate it, it's Isca Baha, and Isca in Irish is water, and Baha is life. So life water. That's what whiskey is. That's the actual translation. I'm sure some of you were the same when we were kids at home. If you were toothache, my father would dip some cloth into whiskey, put it up. Or if you had cold in the wintertime, what the Scottish call a hot toddy, we would call just a hot whiskey, which would be lemon, sugar, cloves, hot water, and whiskey. And my father and my mother would always give me a spoonful of whiskey when you went to bed to help you sleep. So that's our excuse for being alcoholics. My mother's fault. My mother never drank a drop of alcohol in her life, and she used to always, because we all played music. On a Sunday morning, we fall out of bed, hungover, and there would be banjos and fiddles and guitars and everything. And again, we were fishermen, and we had, like everywhere else in rural Ireland, we had a small farm. We had like 11 acres for cows and that. And my mother would say, they tell me a cow is a very dumb animal, but if a cow ate something that made it sick, they wouldn't eat that again. She didn't understand why we would go back and drink. When we'd be sick. But I've been very lucky over the years, just when I came here, through music and through everything. But one of my biggest pride is we do a lot of music with the Boston Police Pipes and Drums, our band Devri, and we've done a lot of charity stuff. But through those connections, I sang the 10th and the 15th anniversary of 9/11 for the NYPD in Times Square, and we were down there. We couldn't do the 20th anniversary because of COVID, but we've been invited down to the 25th anniversary. And for me, for somebody that comes from the most rural parish in Ireland, it's a huge honour to sing to these families. So I'm doing a song about, especially in the early 1910, 1915, 1920. When Irish people left Ireland, a lot of them joined the police departments and the fire departments, and a lot of, especially in New York, a lot of Irishmen joined the NYPD. I'm always amazed to be watching an old movie. The police officer's always Irish. For some reason, he's always got a bit of brogue. But it's a song with Leaving Ireland. It was wrote by a man called Liam Riley, and it was recorded by the Wolf Tones. It's called The Streets of New York. I don't know if any guys know it. We sing on it. But it's about leaving Ireland and joining the NYPD. I was 18 years old when I went down to Dublin, fistful of money and a carload of dream. Take your time, Sydney Father, some Russian I can. Remember all it's not all it seems to be. For there's fellas who cut you for the coat on your back, and the ones that you got from your mother. So take care, me old bucko, mind yourself well, and will you give this sweet note to mother? At the time, Uncle Benji was a policeman in Brooklyn. My father, the youngest, looked after the farm. When a phone call from America said send the lad over, the old fella said sure wouldn't do any harm. For I spent my life working this dirty old grounds for a few pints of porter, the smell of the pound. And sure maybe there's something there we can see. You can bring it back home, make it easy on me. I landed at Kennedy in a big yellow taxi, carried me and me bags through the streets and the rain. Now me poor heart was tumbling around with excitement. I hardly even heard what the driver was saying. We came in the shore parkway to the flatlands in Brooklyn, my uncle's apartment on East 53rd. I was feeling so happy, I was humming a song
sang your this free dance above. But the short in the story, what I found out that day, Benji got shot down in a town parade. While he was flying way to New York, Benji was lying in the cold city morgue. Well, I phoned up the outfit, told the news. I could tell he could hardly stand up in his shoes. And he went as he told me, go ahead with your plan. Never forget to be a pro-Irish man. I went up to Nellie's beside Fordham Road and started to learn of lifting the boat. But the heaviest thing I carried that year was a bittersweet thought of my hometown city. And I was home that December, cause me old Valentine's, to borrow some money to fill on the suns. All the white flowers and the brass couldn't hide the poor wasted face of my father. I sold up his old farm for what it was worth, and into my bag stuck a handful of fur. I boarded the train, I caught me a plane, found myself back in the US again. It's been 22 years since I set foot in Dublin. My kids don't to use the correct anthem for, but I'll never forget the green grass and the rivers as I keep law and order on the streets of New York. La 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 la. Why you will never forget the green grass and the rivers as they keep law and order on the streets of New York. Wait, time for a couple more, Gene?
Yeah. Thanks,
Come on. I'm trying to think of more whiskey songs for Gene.
no more. Come on with me.
I was talking to, as I said, I'm the youngest of 11, and after the war in England, a lot of Irish girls went to England to become nurses. And it was the usual story of immigration, where the first one goes, the rest follows. So my eldest sister, Koch, who was also my godmother, went to Leeds in England, in Northern England, and studied nursing, and then they all followed. And I'm the only one that came to America, and I remind them of that constantly. Until I'm the only one that never took the Saxon shilling. But 5 of them, the other 10, all lived in England, and 5 of them came back. I know there's one in Spain, there's one in Italy, I'm here, and I think there's 4. I'm trying to be mad, I don't know enough figures. There's 4 or 5 in England, and Ireland, and there's a couple in England, so we're spread out. But I was talking to my older sister, Kash, during the week on the phone, and we're just laughing about some of the stories that we grew up with. I had forgotten the story, but she had reminded me about it. Years ago, because the Catholic Church had such a hold on the country, when you went to a dance, there was no alcohol allowed at the dance, and they used to say that you had to bring it with you, in you, so you had to before you got there. But all the men, and maybe it was, when I see stories here about the, what do you call the barn dances, you guys had the other dances. Yeah, the men would say on one side, and the women would say on the other side. And my father, I had forgotten the story, but my father used to tell us the story. And if a guy walked across the floor to dance with the women, it was basically manners for the woman. She didn't want to embarrass him, so she would dance one dance. And then, when that dance was over, the man would say, would you like to stand on? And if she stood on for another dance, that meant she might be interested in the guy. But my father told the story that, again, neighbours, Sunday morning, the day after the dance,
The son is sitting at the table, and the father says, "Well, John, did you get a woman last night? Did you get a woman at the dance?" And the son said, "I didn't, but I almost got one." And he said, "How did you almost get a woman?" He said, "The guy beside me got one." So we're not the most romantic people in the world. So I tell my wife that my wife has no Irish connections whatsoever. Mostly Norwegian, and I said, like, you see all these Italian and French guys, and you ended up with Irish. But this is a love song from Ireland. There's a beautiful part of Ireland called Cavan, and the centre, Cavan Mountain area, and the way people would court back then is a lot of times the only time you saw people who were at Mass or after Mass, and this tells a story of a guy that would walk 10 miles to a different church because he was hoping to meet a girl that he was interested in, and it's called Cavan Girl. As I walk the road from Killishan, weary eyes sit down, for it's 10 long miles around the lake to get to Cavan Town. The odor of the road I don't want to see behind compare. Now I curse the time it takes to reach my Cavan girl so fair. The autumn shades from the leaves, the trees will soon be bare. Each red coat leaf around these seems the color of her hair. My gaze retreats, defies my feet, and once again I sigh for the broken blue sky that might be the color of her eye. At the Cavan Cross each Sunday morning, there she can be found, and she seems to have the eye of every boy in Cavan Town. If my luck will hold, I'll have a golden summer of her smile, and to break the hearts of Cavan men, she'll talk to me a while. Sunday evening finds me home, Killishan down, to work a week till I return to court in Cavan Town. When asked if she would be my bride, at least she'd not said no. So Sunday morning, rise me early, back to where I'll go. So next Sunday morning, rise me early, back to where I'll go. So that proves that it can be romantic. Right, I'll sing a song about, every song I've sang today is about people leaving Ireland. The song is about coming to a guy, his name is Engelbert Pump. He was a German, and he came to Dublin, true story, he came to Dublin. Always be careful if an Irishman says true story, because you can say never let the want of a lie spoil a good story. But this guy came to, I'm not from Dublin, and we treat Dublin people the same as the way you guys treat the New York Yankees. Sorry for any people from Dublin relations, but I love being in Dublin, and I love the Dublin sense of humour. So much so is they've had to move statues in Dublin because of the names in Dublin people. You know the Molly Malone, right? Well, Molly Malone, the song is that she was a soul fish. Molly Malone was actually a lady of the night, and that's how she would go around Dublin with a cart. That's how she So they had a statue for right on Con Street, and the people in Dublin used to start calling it the tart with the cart, and they moved it, and then Anna Liffey, the River Liffey in Dublin is named after a mythological figure called Anna Liffey, and they put her in a Con Street then afterwards, and they had water coming down to signify the river. And the Dubs started calling her the floozy and the jacuzzi. So she was doing it as well, so now they have this guy. But this guy, and there were so many people, they had Bang Bang, who was a gentleman in Dublin who would ride around the Golden Key. And he would jump on the buses and he would start pretending to shoot people. And people would ride out on the road pretending they were dead. And Harry Levin, they had so many great characters. But this is about a German clockwinder that came to Dublin. And apparently he was a very handsome man, which caused a lot of troubles. And he was German, he was foreign, so the ladies in Dublin, well, the married ladies, seemed to want their clocks fixed all of a sudden. So this song's about that. A German clockwinder, Dublin once came. Engelbert Hunt was the old German's name. As he was making his way down the Strand, he played on his banjo, the music was grand. Tooralum, 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 tooralum. A woman came up Fitzwilliam Square. She said her old clock was in need of repair. She invited him in, and to her delight, in less than 5 minutes, he had her clock right. He sat down beside her, just taking his time, when all of a sudden there came a loud chime. In walked her husband, and oh what a shock to see the young German wind up his wife's clock, singing Marianne, why did you take in such an elegant man to wind up your clock and leave me on the shelf? If your old clock needs winding, and wind it myself. Sing thanks a million for having me here today. Thanks for everybody coming out in the snow. And you're going to hit me, but I love snow. We never got snow where I came from. We got hailstones and rain, and hailstones and rain, maybe for the sun. But I love it. I'm hoping it'll go away soon because we're supposed to do in March and the parades. But thanks again to Jean for having me. I'm going to finish off with my favourite song to sing. Again, I grew up in Donegal, and we were like 15 minutes drive from the border with Derry City, a beautiful city that's still in the British occupied part of Ireland. I think, and please forgive me, but I came across as being anti-British when I grew up with all that stuff going on, and cousins that lived in the north, so I definitely would be called an Irish Republic, and would certainly that our country should be 32 counties. I don't think the British have any right to be in our country. So that's where this song comes from. And as I said, we grew up in there. We grew up shopping in there, and Derry's a beautiful town. So this song wrote, the reason I love the song so much is I agree with what it said. We want the British not to be part of it. We've nothing against English people. My nieces and nephews are all English, great kids. It's just British rule in Ireland. But it has to be done peacefully all the time. And the way that the good thing about the Irish is we have a different way of doing things all the time. Catholics are far better breeders than Protestants. So the Catholic majority in Northern Ireland is now exceeding, and it's not even I mean that in a funny way, but now there's more of a nationalist Republican community in Northern Ireland. So I think for the last 20 years the British didn't even want to be there, the British don't want anything to do with it. It's just that they couldn't be seen to be beaten by 60 or 70 guys, Irish guys with guns. So I think, but 25 years ago we said, just take it easy, relax, we'll slip out. And I think that's going to happen over the next 15 or 20 years, certainly in my lifetime, I think. But this song is about, it's called The Tongue I Love So Well. It's my favourite song to sing. And it's about Derry singing about our local city and about how it's had a very tumultuous past, but there's always hope for the future. And the good thing about young people in education is young people are too educated to want to resort to violence again. And so this is my favourite song again. Thanks for having me.
In my memory, I will always see town that time of love so well, where our school played ball by the gas yard wall, and we laughed through the smoke and the smell. Going home in the rain, running up the dark lane, past the jail, down behind the fountain. Those were happy days in so many ways, in the town that I love so well. In the early morning, the shirt factory horn called women from Craig, from the moon and the hawk, while the men on the dome played the mother's role, fed the children, and then they walked home. And when times got rough, there was just about enough, yet we saw it through the complaining. For deep inside is a burning bright in the town that I love so well. There was music there in the dairy air, like a language that we could all understand. I remember the day that I earned my first pay, when I played in a small pickup band. There I spent my youth, and I tell you the truth, that I was sad to leave it all behind me. For I learned about life, and I found for me a wife in the town that I love so well. But when I return, how my eyes they box to see how my town brought to its knees, and the armor cars, and the bundle bars, and the gas that hangs on to every breeze. Now their armies installed by that old gas yard wall, and their damned barbed wire gets higher and higher. With their tanks and their guns, oh my God, what have they done to the town that I love so well? The music's gone, still we carry on. Our spirit's been bruised, never broken. We will not forget, still our hearts are set on tomorrow and on peace once again. For what's done is done, and what's won it is won, and what's lost is lost and gone forever. I can only pray for a bright and brand new day in a town that I love so well. Yes, we can only pray for a bright and brand new day in the town that I love.